till 6 months from now, when all you'll read is a distant, unaffected part of my memory. And when I hear your name and see a picture of your face, it won't mean that much to me. 'Cause right now on this first day of spring, where they claim love runs free, it feels like night at 10 a.m. 'Cause last Thursday at 3 p.m. I was not expecting you to say you don't want me. I can't believe I let you take over.
Yo, what's up? Episode 22 of Andrewcast. We have Brianna Sydney here, and she is a very talented music artist. She took time out of her day to come on the show today. Acuna, the man.
How you doing, guys?
You hooked it up today, as always, and we're about to get into it. So thank you for coming on the show. We both listened to your album. I listened to it twice before you came.
I've been listening to it all week. It's just good. It's good. Like, can I just say real quick how I came across your album? So, I mean, we're both familiar with our friend Assad. Mm-hmm. So, Assad, at one point, we had met once. But, that doesn't mean I was going to listen to your music, but Assad was just like, you need to listen to this. And I was like, well, what is it? He was really hyping it up. And I was like, all right, I'll listen to it. And I just remember sitting down before I went to bed one night and just put it on. And I mean, I was like, whoa. Like, I'm not trying to toot your horn too much right now, but it's just like, some people tell you to listen to their friends' mixtapes, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna get to it. Don't worry. But like, I was really impressed. I was really impressed.
Thank you.
Can you talk about like how you even got started making an EP? It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes for people that don't know. But I literally know nothing about making music. So tell me.
So I have always been the type of person to just love music and love writing and recording. When I was younger, I had a little boombox, and my favorite Christmas and birthday presents were CDs, and so I just was the type to listen to absorb and consume Destiny's Child and TLC and 3LW, and take their songs and put my own words to it. So just that's a little bit of a background. So I have always been that type of person to write and record, and I've performed a couple of times here and there, but it was always a dream of mine to somehow meet somebody in the music industry and then have them make my own album, and so I would say maybe a few years ago I bought my first MPC. It's a little keyboard. It's all I could afford at the time, and I had my MacBook, which had GarageBand on it, and I just started making my own tunes, my own beats, and I had the microphone that comes with the computer, so I didn't have any real equipment. So just for a few years I would just be BSing some beats in my room and in my bathroom and whatever sounded cute. I didn't do anything too serious except at the top of 2017 I found myself in a few different dating situations that did not pan out well how I thought at all, and towards the end, and there's a reference in Be Alright, but towards the beginning of spring, just the situation I was in ended, and I didn't like the way it ended at all, and so I just looked at my little studio and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do something. I need to just flip the script. I've been wanting to do this forever, and now I have some real words. I have all this stuff to say, and
you're just Taylor Swifting people.
Oh my god,
just bringing down the Taylor Swift now.
Pretty much, I was just like, you know what? We're gonna put all this. We're gonna make this real. I'm so tired of getting hurt and being sad and just writing it down and keeping it to myself. I want to do something. So
that's dope.
Yeah, I got myself some really cool equipment, and I just did some. I had already known how to kind of do a few beats here and there. Just from the University of YouTube. And
great university. I hear they have a lot of scholars over there.
Yeah, it's great. So I finally just put things together, and here we are.
That's cool.
And just a segue real quick. Did you produce the music on the album yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. And you did that with a beat machine,
yes.
MPC?
Yes. So I used the MPC Touch. It comes with its own beat software, so I used that. It's a learning curve. It took a while to really figure out.
How long's
a while?
Oh goodness. I got it maybe in January, and I mean to this day I'm still learning.
Yeah, I'm sure there's always things to learn on that.
And the thing is, you have to be consistent. Like if it's like running, you know. Once you stop for a while, you go back for a mile, and it's like, oh my god.
And what software did you use?
So I used again the MPC software, and then I also used Logic Pro.
Okay, Logic Pro. Awesome. Wow. I was really curious as like who your producer was. And I was just like, wow.
You're looking
just to
at
find
it.
that out. That's amazing. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. But I did, for the finishing of the album, I found this wonderful recording studio in Falls Church, Virginia, Q Recording Studios. Goldlink's album was produced.
Goldlink, you like
there.
Goldlink?
I love.
Okay.
Hello, I'm from DC.
I didn't
I'm
even
from
know
Maryland, but I live in DC.
You're gonna judge me real hard. But I didn't even know he was from DC.
Yeah, he's from DC, and
Okay.
so is Shy Glizzy. So is Brent Fries is actually from the same county in Maryland that I'm from.
Okay.
So just
you rep him real hard.
a lot of DMV love. So I went to a DMV studio, and I worked with this amazing audio engineer. His name is Blaine Meisner, and he completely mixed down and mastered the whole thing. And there's a huge difference.
Wait, how did you meet him?
Internet.
Internet, really? That sounds like a very Fairly Odd Parents answer. You're just like,
Yep.
you know, what do you? How'd you get the internet? Wait, so he just responded to you?
Well, so it's the studio. So I just
Okay.
called in and said,
Okay.
you know, I want to do a session, and I went in, and I didn't know who I was gonna really be paired with, and I'm so glad it was Blaine. Like, we just totally vibed, and he's the type of person, you know, who won't, like, you can't just walk all over him. Like, sometimes we would be mixing a song, and, you know, he's just a musical genius, so he could hear notes, and I'm like, no, I want it to sound like this, and he's like, Brie, it doesn't sound right, like, trust me, it's off pitch. And, you know, I'm just a novice, you know, type of, I'm not like classically trained or anything like that, so he had that insight to say, you know, no, it should be like this. And honestly, this whole thing sounds amazing because of him. So
It does sound amazing. It really does.
I'm just like, when I listen to it, it's obviously a story. At the end, I think the narrative, like, kind of breaks out. Like, you know, you're kind of telling it poetically, and at the end, there's actually, like, a dialogue. Like there is on, like, a lot of concept albums. But it ends, like, on a single phrase. And I want to get to that later. But, like, as far as storytelling goes, I'm sure you have a ton of questions like that.
Trust me, I had that's what I was doing this morning. So this morning I woke up, I put on my headphones, and I was listening to it through a few times, and I just wanted to, like, really get an idea of what you were talking about. And so, I mean, it feels like from my perspective, it's like the beginning, you have, you talk about the love thing. The beginning, you're talking about, just love in general. That's a vibe I got. You're just talking about what it feels like to be in love, all the highs and lows, and like how you're not really sure how you're supposed to feel about it. You know, you said, like, you know, love being, you know, painful, but also just being this euphoric feeling that, you know, we all feel. And then you move on into, like, you move on into want you back, and you move on into just, you know, like missing someone.
yeah.
You know, missing someone, you know, missing their time, wondering if they're thinking about you. Then it goes love beyond. That's the thing. Like, were there two guys you're talking about in this thing? Because that's the vibe I got. It's so for me. So let me just.
I'm so happy you were digging
sorry.
deep into it, man.
I had
I'm
to.
so
I had
happy.
to.
I'm
It
so
was-
Got me
happy.
thinking, what's this?
So let me. Sorry. Let's all calm down. Let's But so, like, here's the story I got, and I want to know if it matches up with your vision. So, you were, you know, in love, then you had a breakup, really hit you hard, and then you were just, you know, love beyond kind of seems like a one night fling kind of thing. You're like really feeling this dude. You're not sure about him. He's mysterious. He's mysterious, and you like that because you're looking for something new. Then you move on from that. You know, day to day is kind of just like you had this experience. I'm not really sure if you were with the other guy yet. You still, it seemed like you were kind of shifting back and forth between these two people. And then the rest of the album just talking about how, like, something didn't work out, kind of like you were talking about before, and, you know, how you're still gonna be all right because of it. So it's almost just like a highs and lows kind of album where you're just figuring yourself out.
Yeah, and that's pretty much my level.
Okay.
Just like a lot of highs and lows, and everything is like a day-to-day experience.
Okay.
And, it's like, what is going to happen now and what curveball am I going to get? And maybe that's a testament to my picking style. But, you're definitely right with kind of how the flow of the EP went.
Were there two people, or was it just one guy?
So there's the main character, right? There's the main
I was curious about that too.
Yeah, there's definitely the focus, the one, and
Right.
then you go to Love Beyond, and I'm not with that person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even just me. It's just subjectively, you're not with that person, and you're still vulnerable, but your friends convince you to go out, so you go out, right? And you meet somebody, and you're like, all right, well, we're not. This won't be a thing. Like, I'm not invested in this. You're really cool. We can hang out for a night. We can talk. We can vibe, whatever. But it's not going to go beyond tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The sun rises and I will be out of here. And you will be too. So, it's kind of... I feel like that's just what a lot of us experience nowadays with, the trials and tribulations of, that search for... the one, if that's even a concept that's out there,
Yeah, in Love Beyond, I really felt like he was like flexing on you. He was like really trying to impress you because he was like, you say you know the host, but I sure don't, like type of thing. And I kind of cracked up at that part. I was like, how many times have you gone to a party, you saw a girl you like, and you're just trying to really impress her, so you'd be like, oh yeah, I know the person at this house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we go way back.
Well, that's
way
the
back.
the PR guy you send out.
Your head man?
Every guy sends that out. No, inside themselves, the PR guy.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, nice to meet you. That's not how you are at all. But it was cool to see you kind of tear that apart and like really lyrically. It's almost like you're rapping in a sense, where that's kind of how deep your lyrics go. And I'm curious, like, as far as just to go back to beat composition for a little bit and continue on taking apart the journey of this album. When I'm listening to the beats, and now that I know that you produce them, I'm getting a lot of like Tribe Called Quest, like Jay Dilla type vibes. Like, what are your inspirations composition wise? Like Erykah Badu kind of stuff.
I get a lot of Erykah.
Yeah.
And I did grow up listening to a lot of Erykah. Just back when my mom was Supreme DJ, it was Sade, it was Maxwell, it was we did like a lot of Destiny's Child. I personally loved, listen, I'm a girl group fanatic. I love Destiny's Child, TLC, 3LW, Dream, okay, like I got the whole mix. But just for myself, I didn't want to I was nervous making this album. I'm gonna be upfront with you about that, because I realized that the sound of today isn't necessarily what I made, but I thought I should be making.
What is the sound of today, in your opinion?
The sound
Great
of
question.
today, yeah, it's to me, I feel like music, lyrically, and just kind of how it makes you feel. It's very somber. I feel like there's a lot of like F love and F this, and I don't want to talk to you, like
I mean, hey, people are hurt.
Yeah.
Especially in 2017, people are really hurt.
And I get that, but I feel like there's no, like, well, why are you hurt? Like, what's going on? It's just like, you're talking to all these women, you're talking to all these dudes, like, so with my sound, I wanted it to be definitely a throwback. I definitely am inspired by, like, Tribe, and I also was inspired a lot by Kendrick. Not necessarily, like, his new sound right now, like the Damn era. I definitely really, 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 really loved Good Kid, and City. So I just feel like he also incorporated a lot of old school elements too, and kind of synced them to the new world. So I don't know. I was just kind of playing around and seeing like what my machine had and what I could do with it too.
There's definitely an old school vibe.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like a blanket statement, I know, but like that's what got me like really like nodding my head, because a lot of the music I talk about here is like old rap, old hip hop, and like I was feeling that 100%. Like it was just like kind of a throwback, and I love that.
Yeah, I really liked to kind of get like that. Oh, I love Lauryn Hill, so also, kind of getting that, like, bop, it's just something that you can groove to.
What
like,
you just did right there is what I did when I heard the first beat on this album. I literally, before you start singing, I was like, yeah, I'll get into this.
Yeah,
and that's the mark of a really great song, by the way.
Yeah, I love the downbeat of Love Thing, like, when it's small and then it boom,
the drop got me.
Yeah.
That really did. I was just like, oh, all right.
Ooh, okay. When you're doing something you like, you're just like,
yeah,
ooh,
definitely.
Okay.
It's funny. I've used you coming on as an excuse to just really just show you to people. But I'm sneaky about it though. I'm real sneaky about it.
You need to be shown. That's correct.
I show it to them without really telling them that I know you, and that's to me that's the biggest definition of a good song is when you show someone something and like they have no idea of any relation to this artist and people are like, oh, I like that, what is that, can you tell me about it? And that's what's been happening.
Wow.
He did that to me, by the way.
Yeah, I did.
Talking about potential guests and he puts
some
some music on and he's just like, I know this person.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sneaky in a good way though.
Yes.
So I was actually, it was actually our last guest, Carly, it was her 40th birthday the other day, and we just celebrated last night. And this morning, I stayed over their apartment in Philly, and we woke up. I like I told you before, I woke up and I just started listening to your album. Really just trying to get a feel for it before we came on today. And then we were making breakfast. Everyone finally got up. Hangovers, pounding. And they asked me what I was doing, and I was just like, I'm listening to this artist that I really like, and so I put it on for them, and they were really feeling it. They really liked it, and then I'm like, well, funny story, I know this girl. I'm gonna be talking to this girl later today, so watch out for the episode.
Yes. Okay, promo PR.
Yeah,
Thank you.
like you said, but like I was saying, you can really tell when you have something special when you don't even have to advertise that, I know this person, you should really listen to it. They just really feel it on their own, and that's kind of the vibe I was getting this morning, at least.
So that's, it's great that you say that, because that's how I felt, making it. I didn't want it to be something that, you could hear it anywhere. I wanted it to be authentically myself, which is just a little bit all over the place, but with a heartbeat. So
right.
That's what I wanted.
I like the confidence of your naming too. It's validation, but it's volume 1.
Oh yes.
So that's like a promise that there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
So you have the other one. How much of the other one do you have planned out, or do you not even want to talk about that yet?
Oh no, we can talk about. I think so with creative people, it's all about what we're feeling, what the vibe is, and luckily, my heart hasn't been too broken as of lately. So
you got that all out in volume 1.
Yeah, you really did. You really did, though. That's so true.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should involve myself in something, to have more inspiration. But
that's reckless, right there. True art.
When you say involve yourself in something, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a relationship.
That's true.
We were, on the way over here, Brianna and I were talking a little bit, and it sounds like she's doing a lot, just in general. We were talking about Black Mirror. Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, we
talking about Black Mirror.
Watched it last night.
So we have a fan. Well, I was telling her.
I talk about it on the first 5 episodes of the show. That's practically all we talked about on that show.
Well, apparently, Apparently season 4 came out. Apparently it's an awesome show. I was just telling Brianna how I don't watch a lot of television just because I feel like I'm always on the go. And she was saying that she had similar problems, but she was telling me, not only does she make music, she is making a topical cream line. Is that what you were saying? She's busy.
They seem pretty far from each other.
Right?
Honestly, so a little bit about that. So I'm the type of person, I love homemade, DIY, natural, all that good stuff. And I have sensitive skin and hair and all that good stuff. So I like making my own stuff. And years ago I started doing it. I was at a party a couple years ago, our friend's housewarming party in New York, and we I don't know why I was just drunk, and I pulled out my shea butter to one of the
Because what else would you do at a party?
I was going to say, that's your go-to when you're drunk. It's all right, shea butter time. Everyone gather around. You don't want to see this. Hold on.
I feel a little dry right now.
Why not? Yeah. So it was just I was looking around, there is just me and this other guy, the only other black guy in this house, and, I looked at his dreads. I'm like, what are you using this in your hair? And he said, this and that. I'm like, oh, okay. So I pulled out my shea butter, and I was like, you should try this. And he did, and he was like, oh my God, this is amazing. If I can get some of this off you, I'm like, yeah, hit me up, I'll just send it to you. So fast forward months later, and he messages me on Instagram saying, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you. You have this shea butter. I was wondering if I can get you some, or get some from you. And I said sure. And as I was making it, so shea butter is it's like a lotion.
Okay.
It is cream based, so it's not like water based like most lotions that like evaporate off your skin really quickly. That's why I have to reapply it. So it's just like a natural product that you can use in your skin and hair, and it's really good for treating eczema and dryness, blah blah. So as I was making this, I like put a video up on my Instagram story about it, and like 4 other friends hit me up saying send me some. So from there, you know, I'm talking to this friend of mine, and he's saying, you know, this stuff is really good, you should make a business out of it. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I got my actual job, my actual 9 to 5, and I'm also trying to be Beyonce, so you know,
well, you're on your way.
I'm on my way, but you know, it doesn't hurt to just have another thing, you know, just let me do something else. So I, you know, put up a website and started selling, and it was great. For the first like month, it was kind of slow. I sold maybe like 1 or 2 jars a week, and I was telling Ryan about this. So one of my favorite podcasts besides yours,
of course.
You don't even have don't.
That's our promotion for the day.
That's so sweet. Continue.
But,
I'm sorry.
One of my favorite podcasts was doing a live show in DC. And
What's that podcast, by the way?
it is called The Friend Zone.
Oh, okay.
I've
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
It sounds it sounds in tune with what you made, your EP. You know,
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
you're talking about love and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and they have a lot of great topics along those lines too. So I love them, and
Sweet.
they were being hosted by another podcast that I love called Getting Grown. So I'm like,
Podcast within a podcast?
in a podcast, it's
Oh my
podcast
goodness.
Inception,
I
right?
like
Wow.
that. Grown. I like
Yeah.
that.
Maybe that should be
Yeah.
our next idea.
You should listen.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to discuss. So anyways, they were doing this podcast, basically a live show together. So I'm
Yeah.
like, these are my favorite podcasts all in one place. I'm going to bring them all some shea butter. And
Nice.
I did. I gave it to them at the end of the show. Fast forward to like that Tuesday of that week. I'm just minding my own business at work, checking my website ticker for the Clean Glow Shea Butter website. And I'm noticing like 30 people are online, and it's like 10 a.m. I'm like, who are these people? I only have like maybe 1 visitor online, and it's usually just myself. And then I got like 6 orders that day, just that morning actually. And I'm like, who are these people? So at the end of the day, I ended up with like 20 orders, and I'm just like, what? And so it clicked to me. I went on the podcast, and they gave me a shout out, and they put all of my information in their like the description box. So all these people were like writing me saying, I heard about you from this podcast, from this here. So since then, you know, it's just been blowing up. It's just been popping. So
Super smart move on your part. That's awesome.
it was just total fate.
So you have a website for this cream, this lotion. I mean, what is that website, and do you have one for your music?
I do. So I have for just a lady all over the place.
Right.
I have cleanglowsheabutter.com.
Okay.
Clean glow.
Yes.
Cool.
For that fresh
like
glow,
that.
you know. And then
Of course.
for my music, I have BriannaSydney.com.
Okay.
Right.
So they can find you on Apple Music. They can find you on Spotify, and
Yes.
also on your website.
Yes.
Okay.
Jeez. Yeah, you're pretty widespread.
I am. And you know, the shea butter, I really was not thinking of it to be like my second side, like my side hustle for real. It was just something that I did.
You ever thought of combining your hustles together, making volume 2 about just your cream?
I
Yeah,
was
it's
thinking,
possible.
you know, what if I like had a store? You know how in Starbucks, like they have the CDs of the people that they're playing?
They're
Exactly.
bought
I
one,
have
but
my CDs.
the fact is that you have the option.
Okay, it'll be a kitchen to make all the butter, the store, and then the studio in the
And you
my
just
God.
live in it.
and then my apartment
Right,
upstairs.
right.
I have thought of this, y'all.
It sounds-
That's the dream. I
Okay.
want to do that too. Like, I just want a place with a podcast studio, a place to draw, and all that kind of stuff.
Man,
Like, it'd be
sounds like
dope.
she has it figured out already.
Yeah.
You know what? I saw something on Twitter the other day, and it kind of rounded it out for me, because I'm always asking myself, you know, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Why do things fall into my lap? And I saw something that said, you know, find 3 hobbies. 1 hobby that keeps you fit, 1 that keeps you creative, and 1 that makes you money. So I'm looking at this like, oh, well, okay, let me just pick and choose.
So which is which for you?
Well, right now, what's making me money is Clean Glow. That's like
Yeah.
immediate.
Okay.
Okay, so if someone's ordering a jar,
Yeah. Okay.
1 that's keeping me very creative, of course, and it's always been the music. It's always been writing. And then I like to lift weights. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a gym you go to
Yes.
regularly?
Yeah. So
Okay.
my 9 to 5 job has a gym that I use.
Okay.
Sweet. That's awesome.
That's pretty convenient.
But I'm down. I just need to find the last hobby on that list, the money-making one, and that'll be right in your lane.
We're right here, okay?
You're doing some awesome things. So, like, were you always like this, like the way that you are now, the version of Brianna? Like, in high school, were you the band kid? Like, how were you, like, your earlier self before you become this musical flower tree and cream creating person that you are?
Oh, man.
Like, were you the artsy kid in high school?
I was the kid who probably just should have stayed in her lane in high school. So I just...
What lane was that?
The lane of just being myself. You know what I mean?
Well, that's such a open-ended thing. Like,
Well,
tell us about it.
I feel like, it's funny, somebody asked me this the other day, but I was kind of all over the place too with that. I tried a bunch of different things. I was a cheerleader for a couple of years. I tried out for the field hockey team. Did not realize it required so much running.
Really?
As much running as soccer.
Major oversight.
Yeah. Where was the big reveal? Like, was it the first day of practice?
Just the first day of tryouts, and this lady said run around the track 6 times, and I said, where?
Yeah, check please.
I was like, oh.
Did you go on the team with your friends or something like that?
I had a couple of friends who were on it, and, they were, like, fun, so I thought, it was something for me to do. And it was not for me to do. And the coach was very, very, very nice. On the last day of tryout, she said, I could keep you on the team, and that's fine. You can travel everywhere with us, but I will not play you.
She said that to you?
Yeah, she did. I'm glad she did because it was real. And
that's mad honest, yeah.
It was mad honest, and she's like, I think you're doing it. Because I don't quit things. She did say run those six laps, and I ran them. I was just there all day doing it.
Yeah, right.
Like, everybody had been done, but I just didn't quit. So, she saw that. She saw that in me, and I was a nice kid. I'm a nice kid. So, like, that didn't really pan out.
There's a lot of pressure when you're in high school, I think, to be athletic. Like, it's good to be fit, but there's a lot of, like, what sport do you play? Because there's a camaraderie between teammates, and it's almost like a clique or a group. I mean, this is common knowledge. But it's strange how cliques that are formed around art, like making music, they don't have the same appeal. It's like, what's up with these weird, like, art making kids? What's up with these weird creative people? But, like, athleticism is so normalized in high school. It's tough. Like, you're like, the film class, like, what's up with these guys,
Well, I think it ties into the fact that, one, there's so much prestige with athletics.
That's true. I'm not downplaying it.
Well, no, I'm not saying you are, but there's so much prestige, and it's so easy to tell when someone just has it. You know what I mean? It's
That's
so easy.
true.
It's so easy just to see someone sprint and be like, okay, they're an athlete.
It's more
whereas,
evident.
yeah. Whereas art's is so open ended. There's so many things, and what's good to one person is not good to the other person.
Right.
And there's so much argument about what art really is. It's a lot more ambiguous than sports. Sports are very cut and dry. You score a goal, you move past someone.
Yeah. I feel that that's a good observation. But then there's art that stands out, like your music, for example. Like, that's something that people will listen to, like, this is good, this is refined, like, this is really awesome. But it takes a while, I guess, to make that stuff more than what you said. Athleticism is, like, totally evident.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that in high school for sure. Like, I was just like, like, I could just sit and draw all day. I could just sit and do creative stuff all day.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
there's
drawing.
I know, and I was noticing that too. I was like, man, that's super awesome. But like, I feel like
nice.
there's levels to it too. There's because I feel like the artsy kids, there wasn't one type. There were the students who did the drawings. There were students who, like, I did I loved the musicals, so I did 2 of them. So I think and I also did choir too. And then I also knew the people who did, like, band and orchestra and flags and silks and, oh my god, like, but there's little sects in all of those, so everybody has their issues, everybody's hooking up with each other.
Oh,
like,
yeah. God, were they ever hooking up with each other?
so there was drama no matter what. And
yeah.
then there were the crossover kids. In my choir, there were, like, the singers. They're Troy Boltons, right? So the singers.
Yeah.
But they were also really good at sports, too. So it's like, man, you can't be here and there. Give
I mean,
us.
sounds like you were everywhere. Why can't they be everywhere?
You know what? You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
Some people got it all. Everyone knows that person where, like, you expect them to do great. You're just like, man, this person does everything. Like, they can sing, like, they got it all, And you constantly compare yourself to that person.
Yeah, and I think
not
that's what I ended up doing a lot in high school, and that's why I said, I should have just stayed in my lane. I think I did have a lot of insecurities in high school, just not feeling like, I really fit in anywhere,
Right.
or, I really had my own look or anything like that. I was not, boys did not pay attention to me at all in the way that I wanted them to in high school. So I was a very late bloomer with that. So I constantly tried to like fit in with like the popular girls, or you know, I tried to change my appearance. I thought maybe if, you know, I was on field hockey, I would get paid attention to more, you know. So I do wish that it was different, where I just like kind of like was firm in who I was and what I liked and what I didn't like. But I still, you know, I still had a good time. I made my friends, you know, I did what I needed to do. So.
But I feel like, you know, everyone at that age doesn't really know who they are. Like, there's adults that still don't know who they are, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I wouldn't count that as a regret. My question is, while all that was going on, were you still writing?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I had several, you know, those, like, black and white marble colored composition notebooks. I had plenty of those. I had journals. In high school, I picked up... So I learned piano. My parents put me in piano classes when I was younger, and I also played the violin.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. I know. I can still read music. So they did that for me, and then I also was in the orchestra for a few years, so I played violin. And from there, oh my gosh, in high school I had I went through a huge Jason Mraz phase. Like, just, I was obsessed with the singer-songwriter era, and that was...
Who's that? I may be completely out of the loop here.
Oh, no, it's okay. Do you know the song, Geek in the Pink?
No.
Or You and I Both Lie?
That sounds familiar, but I mean, I don't listen to it regularly.
Oh, he did, So I Won't Hesitate.
I know that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Why didn't you say so? We should have just started with that.
Yeah, so he was huge for me in high school, and him and John Mayer, and just...
John Mayer.
I just was so part of that singer-songwriter era, and this is also when YouTube was really big in that singer-songwriter era, too. Like, there were these amazing singers like Jennifer Chung, Melissa Pollinard, Gabe Bondic, like... They were all doing it, so I wanted to learn it too, and like that was when Taylor Swift was getting her start too, and I learned that she taught herself how to play guitar. So
allegedly.
Oh God.
She got. I mean,
we will get to her.
So
let's talk about it.
I mean, hey, like Taylor Swift, you know, obviously she's an icon. There's no question about that. Like, we're gonna look back in 20 years and be like, Taylor Swift, she ran the United States, she ran the world.
God.
You know, people love Taylor Swift. They do. You know what? Love her or hate her, she's influential. But like now at this point, you know, maybe she, just like any other artist, you know, I'm not pointing out Taylor Swift in general, but you know, when someone gets that big, it's no longer just them. You know, they have a whole like network making sure that they survive and that they are successful. You know, like I don't think she has as much artistic freedom as she used to. You know, because now it's all about polls. Now it's all about you know, what's going to sell, and now she has a whole team telling her what she should write and how she should write it and what's going to do well. I mean, her last album was very different from what she usually does. And you know, on one hand, you like, was that her idea? That's her wanting to be artistic, or is that what the media, as what her corporations, her label, you know, said this is what's going to make them the most money?
Super dumb question on my part. She's signed to a label, obviously, right? Well, I mean, that's part of it, man, and that's why a lot of people are going independent. So
Yeah,
they want to deal with all that.
it's sad too, because when she first came out, I identified so much with like what she was talking about, because it just felt so honest. It was, you know, like just some high school heartbreak craziness, you know, and I think all of us were going through it. So I feel like my most raw songs were made in high school when like the one guy that I had a harrowing crush on for a year didn't like me back, and obviously I didn't talk to him or do anything to like show that I was interested, you know, and you know.
Were you that Taylor Swift song where it's just like she wears short shorts,
no.
I wear t-shirts, she's cheer captain and I'm on the bleach, you know, like, that's the one thing I think about.
I wasn't even on the bleachers.
You were a cheerleader. That's what I'm saying. You were trying.
She was talking about me. She was coming for me with
Oh
that.
my God, yo, Taylor!
No,
you heard it here
no.
first. Taylor Swift hated Brianna.
But I feel you with the swirling emotions and stuff. I think the problem with being young and being artistic is there is so much that you want to express, but you don't know how. And you think about it all the time. Like, every now and then I rap. It's not really my main focus anymore, but like I used to do that a lot in high school, and like my lyrics were really about like what I was going through, but in a funny way, like a way that I could laugh at it, and somebody that was listening to would think it was funny. But, you know, on the real, you're just like, this isn't a joke. That's how I feel. You know? But that's
the real stuff.
yeah, even though I made it
You
funny.
going through it, man. man.
Yeah, but I can totally relate to that. You know, it's just going on and stuff, especially your high school crush. Everyone has that high school crush.
I had several.
Most of us have
several. Well, I had one big one every year. Like, I can tell you who they were and why. And it would be like this soul-crushing thing, and like all my friends would know. And again, like, it's not like I did anything to make this known. I would just know who they were and like stare at them from afar.
Right.
Like,
Everyone was awkward about it.
It was so weird.
Oh,
I think about it now, I'm like, why did you... First of all, why?
The chill just went through the back of my spine because I'm thinking about my own experiences.
That's
triggering.
then you look at it now, though, and you're just like... You look at that person, not the situation, and you're like, sheesh.
I know, it's everyone. I'm just like, why, God, why? But...
that's all the stuff that makes you want to make this kind of stuff. So, I mean, with your album process, is there a specific creative process that you go through every day where you sit down and you're like, all right, it's time to make music. I'm going to listen to this or like sit down here. Are you specific about it, or are you walking one day and stuff just comes to you? Or is it a mixture of both? How is that?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think when I was in the weeds of making this, I did keep myself on a very rigid schedule, where I would, like, towards the end of my 9-to-5 workday, I would throw back like 2 Red Bulls at 4 p.m. and just stay up until 2 a.m., like 2 or 3 a.m.
That's not sustainable.
No.
That's college, though.
Yeah.
You know, I was pulling from that era. I was pulling from that. Like, I've done this before. I've been here.
Me, no.
Nice reference.
That was a good reference there. But so I really I made sure, you know, that I was very organized, and I knew, like, okay, this is the track that I'm working on today, whether it's tightening up some lyrics or cleaning up vocals. I did all of my own background vocals as well, so, you know, that takes a long time. Some songs were easy to make and they took, like, you know, maybe like a couple days. A couple of songs took a little bit longer, like Want You Back took me maybe like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, and I'm also a perfectionist too, so that comes into play.
So, what do you think? Is that safe to say the longest one on the album that it took to write? Want You Back, like, why?
Not to write, but to make.
Okay, why did it take so long? Was it production? Was it lyrics? What was it?
It was production. The lyrics, they were very simple to write for me. Lyrics in general are not hard for me. I can bang out a song in like a minute or so.
That's usually the hardest part for most people, though.
Oh,
which is interesting.
I've been writing songs since I was very young.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I find fascinating about people is everyone thinks differently, you know, and like I know that's such a blanket statement. We talk about blanket statements, like, but everyone really does think differently. Like, if I think about something a certain way, it's gonna be different than the way Andrew thinks about it. And you know, talking about, you know, Andrew just said it's usually difficult for people to make lyrics, you know, as opposed to the production. How do you think? What makes you think? Like, how do you think about writing a song? Like, how does it just come to you like that?
So it usually begins with just the theme. So whatever I'm feeling, and with my songs, it's therapy for me. So it's therapeutic to just kind of talk about it. So I don't try to think, well, how can I get fancy metaphorically? How can I, you know, be really clever? I just kind of like have a conversation with myself. So like in Cross Your Mind, like just that is just a conversation. You know? So
you just said have a conversation with yourself. Is it really? Is it like just like that, like in your head, you're really talking to yourself? That's how it feels?
It's really how my notes app. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, like just talking about sometimes what I do, and this has been helpful, is I just kind of journal something or write something, and then I take the pieces and elements of it and just flip it around and just shorten it and make stanzas, and it's a song. So really, like, that's just how honest the lyrics are. They're like just entries. So I try not to, again, get too fancy with anything. It's just what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, and it happens.
Right. No, I mean, clearly it happened already. I mean, I'm excited for, like, you know, we talked about being excited for Volume 2. But can we say, wait, did you have something to say?
No, I was just gonna add something dumb. I really love.
Damn, you just like, come on, like
that's what it is. I really love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I talk about it all the time. And there's an episode where Ashley wants to rap, and Will has to teach her how to rap. And the first thing he says, I believe, I'm maybe misquoting, is he goes, "Tell me something that gets you really mad." And Ashley's like, "I don't get mad." And he's like, "Come on." And she's like, "Well, I don't like my principal." And that's how he starts to teach you to rap. He's like, well, you say your principal sucks. Like, he just starts, like, busting out these rhymes, and Ashley is like, and I want to roll around and smack her. Like, she starts saying this, like, crazy stuff. But, like, it's a comical scene, but it really demonstrates, I think, how people write lyrics, where it's like, what is something you feel strongly about? Let's start there. You know what I'm saying? And, like, it's hard to do, you know, but like you said, you're taking something that's big, which is a journal entry, which I do, and then you take the key components of that journal entry, which is hard because in your head there's a bunch of details, right? And then you just break it down to the mini of what it is. That's all I wanted to say. My bad. What were you about to ask?
I just wanted to segue into Volume 2, and if you've made any songs, like started writing any of them, what you think your theme is going to be. Obviously, it's not done yet, so I don't think you have a full idea necessarily, or maybe you do. You know, like I just want to know more about Volume 2.
So Volume 2 is something that I'm kind of in the process of thinking about what I want it to be, especially because Volume 1 was so sad, you know, like when you really think about it.
But it ended on a good note.
It did, but I wasn't in a happy, fun place, and even with Love Thing, you know, I wasn't in like a bright place, and I don't know if I want to continue that. I don't know what the story is looking like, because again, Volume 1 was about something that was actually happening to me. So with 2, I don't know what's to come. I have written down a couple of I have made like a couple of poems, and that's another thing I do too. I will have like short poems that I'll come back to and be like, this is nice, let's make a song out of it.
What type of poetry?
I don't know,
Just like free verse?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nothing crazy, just
Gotcha.
like, you know, something that I maybe felt, I put it down, I come back, I'm like, oh, this is cool, just expand on that. So I've had a lot of that, and I don't know if I want it to be like, you know, a kind of present album, or if I want it to be a story, if I want it to be from the vision of like somebody else. You know, I can be really creative.
You want to do like a Kendrick Lamar kind of thing, where you're like making characters.
Yeah, or
and
even
Kendrick
like,
Lamar's not the only one to do that.
No,
that's
well,
the
even
first
like,
thing that comes to my head.
No.
I was thinking like of a SZA, like when she did the Weeknd.
I knew you were a SZA fan just by listening to your album.
Oh man, I am a huge SZA, like I listen to Control on repeat like a ridiculous amount.
I've jumped around her album. But, you know, I've jumped from Prom to Gogina to Love Galore. But Gogina definitely what I've been listening to lately. Yeah. Are you familiar with SZA?
You actually, when you introduced me to Brianna's music, you said that like it's most similar to SZA.
That's what I got. That's the vibe I got.
Oh my gosh, that is a huge compliment.
Well, I mean, is it true? Is that where you were influenced?
That's
by?
amazing. No, not really. I don't
okay.
think so.
Damn, well, I'm fucking wrong. So.
No.
That's not what it means, man. That's not
No,
what it means.
not at all. It was just, I just find that amazing.
Cool,
I think that she's just like, where she's gone, and she's actually been a huge inspiration for me with this whole thing. Because I don't know how deeply familiar you are with her.
Just the fact that she's a part of Kendrick's label.
Okay,
and
but really just like her Control.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So I knew about her from a while ago, and it's mostly because, you know, when I first saw her, I was like, oh my god, she looks like me. Like, she's dark skinned, she had natural hair, she was not skinny. Like, she's I don't know if you know, but she's lost a lot of weight since she first started.
I really don't know a lot about her besides that her album is fire.
Yeah. So, and she had these a series of mixtapes that she released, and the sound is pretty different actually from what it is now. But I really appreciated seeing like her go from, you know, where she started to where she is now. And it all is good. So it's also just a testament to, you know, sticking to who you are, being who you are, and then, you know, people will find you who believe in you, and will help you create more beautiful things like Control. The people, oh my god, if ever I hear an amazing album, I immediately think, who produced this? Who
really?
put their stamp on this? Who wrote this? Like,
because you want to find those people?
Basically.
And also because you're a creator.
Yes.
Because I know how that is too. When I'm reading a comic, I'm like, man, like who penciled this? Like who illustrated this? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like it's like let's pick apart this album. Like, I want to see who produced this, and then maybe listen to what other work they've produced. Like, or even like with a 444, like No ID did the whole album, and it's amazing, and it sounds like, you know, it's like, wow, like No ID came all this way, and like now he made like Jay-Z's like latest greatest, you know, and that's just the type of
Okay,
listener
that's cool.
that I
I never
am.
thought of it that way. That's
Yeah,
why.
no, I talk to a lot of different people, and like some of my good friends, and you know, they'll be like, "Yeah, this song is great," and I'm like, "Yeah, but did you hear the lyrics? Like, who penciled this? Who penned this?"
My best friend AC, who's been on this podcast multiple times, he goes, being a musician is a curse when you have to listen to music. He's like, because you can never just enjoy it. He's like, you're destined to pick it apart once you're someone who makes music. Like, you hear a sound, you're like, where'd that sound come from? What did they sample for that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
Oh,
Yes.
that's
it's
cool.
definitely
That's
a different
cool.
aspect.
Yes. I hear a lot of now. Yeah, I do that too. I hear a lot of people
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, that's a sample from somewhere. Where did they get this from?"
Right.
Or like, I spent like a lot of time looking at certain producers that I like. Like, I spent a while looking at like Mike Will Made It videos. He's like,
He's good.
he's incredible. I would love to work with him. Like, just to
You
see.
you know someone's good if you're listening to a rap album and then you just hear Mike Will Made It. Or
I know, I'm
or
like,
something like that. You're like,
I'm
oh
about
shit!
to go
Like
through it.
he must have done something.
Yeah, him,
like that.
him, Metro Boomin.
Yeah. Oh my
Sony
god. Yeah,
Digital,
exactly.
like-
Yo, Metro Boomin got a shot. Like he got started with Future shouting him out on the track,
Yeah.
and now
I
that's like you just hear
know.
Future saying
Like,
Metro
what?
Boomin, and you're like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Or even like the Lord, like Zaytoven,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
like, oh my god.
you know what
like,
I'm saying? You know what I mean though? Like,
and you know, he still has his like regular day. You know, he like
oh, he's like an
plays
accountant
key-
or something.
He
Like-
plays keys at his church.
What?
Like he plays.
That's where most
Metro
musicians
Boomin,
start.
Metro
Yes, that's
Boomin
where a
goes to
lot of them-
church.
yeah.
Metro Boomin goes
He
to
is
church.
Zaytoven.
I'm sorry,
is church.
Zaytoven goes to church.
Metro
everyone.
Boomin actually, he like went to, I think he went to Morehouse like for a
Okay.
couple years, and like he like a lot of these people are inspiring because it's like, oh yeah, he got started on Fruity Loops, which is like a really simple like DAW system, and like all of these producers like they're doing the same things that we're doing, you know, like
Right.
just using the same like systems that we're using, like everything is just like tied in. And
I know. In
oh my
terms of
God,
production,
yeah.
I think of Bryson Tiller. Supposedly, he worked at a gas station, and then he just bought like a sound system, and you know now he's making albums.
Yeah,
Which I think
a
is
lot
crazy.
of them are like that. It's amazing.
The point is, yeah, it can come from anywhere. But it seems that church music and a lot of popular R&B kind of neo soul music, they're intrinsically linked. Black gospel has such a high production value, like for what it is, and a lot of people come from that scene, and then they go on to make secular music and whatever other stuff. Like it seems like the church starts like a lot of that stuff for people when they're
Yeah.
young and when they're coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great way to really learn about music. I feel like I personally didn't have that
And yeah, okay.
experience, that exact experience. We were not like in church all the time,
I see.
and I wasn't in a choir in church. I was in for school, but
Yeah.
Okay.
but it is like a common trend.
Definitely.
So, and I think it's amazing.
So, I mean, are you religious at all?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but you never went to church.
No, we weren't we weren't like in church. You know what I mean?
You weren't like it wasn't your community. Is that what you're trying to say? Like you were there, you came to practice faith, but you weren't doing all the extra stuff. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, more or less. You know,
Okay.
we went on Sundays. We definitely during like Easter, or like Christmas, we would go. Even to this day, but I am a Christian, and I very much like enjoy my faith, and
Okay.
that's something that this year I want to get deeper in,
Okay.
and explore more.
Well,
and
that's a good question. I want to ask you, what are your resolutions this year?
Ooh.
so,
We are in a new year, aren't we?
we are, and it's gotten off to a great start. I think for myself, I didn't really come up with any big resolutions. I just have a lot of small things. Like 2017 was great for me.
Really?
Not my love life, but and not for like the society was really messed up. Like a lot.
The world, yeah.
The world
just-
was bad.
it was
the
a
world that was bad for Brianna was good.
She was chilling. She's great.
I just feel like 2016 was or 2017 was inverted. You know, like everything, like 2016. I don't know. I think 2016 is like ending on a good note. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of anything really bad happening in 2016. Obviously, there's your tragedies and stuff that happen all the time, but 2017 just feel like left and right, like something was going wrong.
My life was in shambles 2016. That's all I got.
I know. I don't
It was
know.
over.
2016 was not that fun
I'm so
for
happy-
me.
I'm so happy you're back.
Not to argue with you, but
yeah.
I
No,
see- I see what
this
you're
is
saying.
good. This is
it
good.
was the calm before the storm. Perhaps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
for sure. 2017 though was really nice, and I think it set me up for a great 2018.
Nice.
Okay.
Just with all the new things that I started, all the things that I accomplished, I've finally left the country for the first time, and I did it twice.
Where'd you go?
I
Oh,
went to
nice.
Jinx.
I did a self trip. I took myself to Amsterdam.
On solo.
Yeah, I did my Eat, Pray, Love. I just wanted to, you know.
You're
like,
wildin' out.
Yeah,
That's
you know.
Amsterdam. Why Amsterdam?
There was a great flight deal.
Okay.
And it was also like.
Take Spirit.
Yeah. No. Wait, God, no.
I was gonna
I
say.
hear
no.
bad things about that.
No.
It's gonna be $5, but you know.
You might not make it. You
You
might
might
get there on
You pay
one
$5.
on a busted engine and one wing.
Right.
They'll get you there.
You know, as long as I get there.
No. I went
not-
through
I'm not
Iceland
picky
Air.
these days.
Okay, cool.
So it was cool. Iceland was not as fun as I thought it would be. I had a layover there, a little bit of a layover, and I was like, oh, I'll be in Iceland. When I got off the plane in the middle of summer, and I'll tell you, the sleet was raining sideways,
Oh, wow.
and it was like 20 degrees, and meanwhile, we're all in like summer clothes, and you can't, there's no like, the planes don't connect directly into the airport. You have to like take a shuttle, so you have to get off the plane into the wilderness. It was wild. But I went to Amsterdam. It was glorious. I just wanted to go. You know, I just when I want to do something, I do it. That's just the type of person I am.
Good philosophy.
Yeah.
What'd you do there?
I went to a bunch of museums. I ate a lot of food. I went to the cheese museum. You know,
They have a cheese
They
museum.
have a whole. Amsterdam is like the land of cheese. Like they just.
Really? Okay, let's talk to people from Wisconsin and see if,
Oh,
see if
true,
they feel
true.
the same way.
Maybe they're descendants. You know,
Maybe,
they're Dutch
yeah,
descendants.
you're right, you're right.
So,
Okay.
I did that. I also, my cousin actually he lived there. He's back in the UK now, but when I was there, he was there. So he got us to go on a canal tour, or it was like a boat party.
Like in Italy kind of thing? Like
Kind of, but it was
gondola?
it was a nice sized boat, and it was a bunch of his friends, and
Okay.
we all just like went around and we were drinking and eating, and it was
Is that the thing to
great.
do in Amsterdam?
That's the thing to do. Like
Okay.
there's like thousands of canals there. It's like the land of canals, so there was plenty of boats out there, so it was a lot of fun. And the weather was perfect. It was great. I went to the Gordon Parks Museum, or the Gordon Parks exhibit, which was funny because like a few months later, like Kendrick released the Element video, and it was based on that exhibit.
I'm not familiar. Who is that? I don't know who that is.
He's a photographer.
Okay.
An African American photographer.
Okay.
So, he's great. So I did that, and then in October, my cousin got married in Mexico. So
Hey!
I went, yeah.
Where? Cancun? You talking about Puerto
Ryan got so hyped.
It was like he was going to the
I
wedding
know.
almost. He was like, let's go.
Oh, true.
Oh, you didn't see me there?
I mean, I might have seen you. I was busy. Listen.
She was living her life.
It was
you
a
know?
wedding. It was
Destination
so
weddings
much
are fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're great.
We were in Acuna, which is right outside of Cancun. It's like maybe an hour or so. But oh my, it was beautiful.
Speaking of destination weddings, I'm actually I just bought my ticket the other day. My buddy, he's South African. He's getting married in South Africa in August.
Bro, you're going to South Africa?
I'm going to South Africa. Getting into Johannesburg.
What?
We're gonna be hanging out. We're gonna be partying.
Oh my
celebrating his
gosh.
wedding.
Get an all-white outfit. Take pictures on the beach.
Oh wow! Should I though? I mean,
Yeah, man.
I've been to Africa.
wow.
I've been to Africa before, and it was
remember
very
telling
at least in Kenya, it was very dusty. So like I feel like if I wear a white suit, I'm gonna.
I was
be
picturing you
brown
by
by
the
end.
beach. I don't know how it is. I've never been. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
very.
God, South
I
Africa's so beautiful.
when I think of
Oh.
Africa, at least Kenya. I mean, it's a big continent. But when I think of Kenya, I think rustic. Like you just felt old. The dirt felt old, and like I know, like yeah, it sounds so silly, but like go there and you will be like, oh shit, like it just has a
Old
different.
dust.
It does. It has a different feel to it. It feels like there's like a lot of history there.
I love where you're going with this. No, I understand.
I mean, trust me. I tell that to people all the time. They look at me like I got 3 heads. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I
Old
believe it.
dirt.
How's
Like all
Kenya?
dirt.
Bro,
All
it was
dirt is
old.
old.
Bro, dirt was
I love
mad.
it.
And, I wish
Crazy.
I want to go to Africa. I want to go to Sierra Leone.
You should. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's.
It does
my,
sound sexy, Sierra Leone. Like I don't even know much about it. I just know it sounds like a great place to be.
That's where my family's from.
Awesome.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm first generation, so I want to go.
Nice,
Look at you,
nice. I'm
first
also first
generation.
generation.
Yeah.
It's weird, you know.
Yeah.
It's different. It's definitely
International kids.
Yeah.
Not really.
not. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself international. I was born in the U.S., raised in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, had a U.S. school system. But
You're
you know,
as
there's
American as they come, brother.
yeah, I definitely, absolutely. No, seriously, I am very American. But you know, it's weird because people talk to you and they expect you to say something more. You know,
Mm-hmm.
no, but what are you? You know, and I'm just like American. No, but like you were from somewhere else before. I'm like, yeah, but like
Do you get that a lot?
I'm very racially ambiguous, I'm told.
You are, bro.
So, I
Especially
think
with the beard.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten Muslim, I've gotten Greek, I've gotten Italian, really a lot of Italian. I've gotten, Hispanic, obviously, which is what I am. I'm Chilean. But yeah, I mean, I attribute it to more of that. People are just curious because I have no idea.
Yeah.
But, still.
Yeah.
I just want to be like, I'm just like you, man.
That's not my problem. Shit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I want to just talk.
What is your problem?
I want to tell people. Actually, I'm 100% Japanese.
Yo, that's
Wow.
All right, so
He just went to
I
Japan.
had a really good, I love Japan, but I had a really good Asian friend in high school, and people would be like, what type of Asian are you? He's like, 100% Jewish. Like, he would always say that. He was just like, he's Jewish.
I love it.
But no, I mean, I think, and I'm not to get into like sensitivity training and stuff, there's a lot of people that don't know how to ask about background, so it comes off like, where are you from, bro? Like, from here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I think the problem is when someone gives you an answer and like that, it's almost like that answer is not good enough for them. So like they
You
probe.
can see them.
You know what I mean? So they probe. It's like, dude, I'm not hiding anything from you. Like literally, that's how I feel about myself.
they want something to go off of.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What if you
yeah.
were saying, like, I'm from, I don't know, name some crazy place nobody knows about. Be like, oh yeah, I watched a documentary on that place. Like, okay. They're just trying to, like, go off something.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think in their heads, like they're doing the that white guy meme where he goes,
Oh
yeah.
I love that dude.
he's like confused
With the eyes, yeah.
because you're not telling them
what they
need.
thought, what they expected to hear. I
Yeah.
guess.
I usually get Asian or Jewish because of my eyes.
Asian,
Yeah.
really? I want to take you for Asian. I mean, you've been to Japan, so
Swing.
maybe
But hey,
in that sense,
that's just what it is. But
in another life.
no, Japan's lit. That's like, I think travel comes up a bunch on this show, and it's cool because it changes your perspective. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the number one objective of young people. Like, they want to work at a job where they make a difference, and then the second one is they want to travel all the time, and it just changes your perspective. I'm sure that maybe there's some inspiration from your trip, maybe not. I mean, it might have just been an escape from what you were doing, but either it affects what I do always immensely. Like, when I came back from Japan, I had a new perspective. This is my third time going, but the second time I went for graduation, I came back and I was like, that's it. I'm completely changing my diet. Like, that was my takeaway. I'm just like, I'm not going to eat anything bad anymore, you know?
Yeah.
What about Japan changed that for you?
Just to see how long those people live. They're like turtles.
What's the life
in Japan.
expectancy there?
There's
They're like
people,
Masaroshi-ing it?
yeah, there's people that are hitting hundreds. Like, there's just
The
old
Japanese
people in
diet
Japan.
is very like
That's
conducive
crazy.
to a long life.
You want to
Yeah.
talk about long life? I'm not sure if I told you. I definitely didn't tell you. There's this I'm a cardiology technician, so I do stress testing and that sort of thing. So I had this dude come in, walks perfectly normal. Dude looks like he was in his 60s.
Yeah.
Like looking like my dad's age, just totally healthy. He goes, how old do you think I am? And I was just like, this is definitely a trick fucking question.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you how I feel. Like, you look 50, like late 50s, early 60s. Yeah, 92. Dude was 92 and literally like just he was doing everything. He said he attributed it to a Mediterranean diet, did not eat red meat, and stretched for an hour every morning. And he was trying to get me to get onto that diet, and I was like, sorry, dude, like I'm trying to live. I
Right.
can't give up red meat.
No, totally, man. You need to have cheat days on a diet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I try and make the weekends for that. But another thing is, like, everyone's body is different. That's the crazy thing. So
Yeah.
what works for that guy makes him immortal may not do it for you.
Yeah, it's a genetic
Exactly.
lottery.
Yeah,
It really
Yeah.
is.
it is. It totally
Some
is.
people have it. It's fucked up, but it's true. Like
No, it's real.
some people have to just pay attention to their bodies a lot more than other people.
Right.
There's like
Yeah.
hereditary. You could do all that you. I know somebody who was very healthy, ran every morning, and had a heart attack. And that's just
No, it's
that's,
just.
it just happened. So
Mm.
it depends.
The heart is interesting. I work in a cardiology department, so the heart is just interesting because it never stops. If it stops, you're dead.
Right.
And that just blows my mind. Like, literally, that thing's beating from the time you're born to the time that you're in the dirt. And
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, other things take breaks every now and then. They're not working constantly like that. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's the most important organ, but it's definitely up there.
This podcast's taking a turn.
Yeah.
I like-
Wait,
I like
sorry.
that.
We're
Get
getting
into
away.
I never tap into your medical knowledge, man, but you know a lot about that kind of stuff. So, that's crazy.
Well,
Wait, I have a question then.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think is most important, the heart or the kidneys?
Well, kidneys filter out toxins, but the thing is about kidneys, you have two of them, so you can get rid of one, and you you can get rid of one and you still have another one. You can still live a life. You know, like I think the heart's more important because it's always beating. But you know, the thing is like the body is like the body's a system. The body is it's almost like a car. That's what I hear attributed to all the time by physicians. It's like a car. Like you're a mechanic. You gotta fix the problem. But if you plug a hole up somewhere, something else might fall apart elsewhere. So the kidneys play a role in. So the kidneys release something called erythropoietin, which is like it stimulates red blood cell growth
and a delicious dish.
Well, yeah,
like rice or pudding or something.
Some of these.
It made me think of paella. I don't know why. I want
love paella.
Delicious paella.
But yeah, so basically the kidneys play a role in stimulating this growth. They send this signal. They send this signal to the bone marrow, which creates these red blood cells, and red blood cells play a role in distributing oxygen throughout your body. It has a thing called hemoglobin, which the oxygen attaches to, and it goes throughout your circulation. What happens is if erythropoietin isn't working correctly, then you're making less red blood cells, less oxygen is going around the heart, or going around your circulation, going around your body. So now the heart has to compensate by contracting harder. It needs to contract harder in order to get more blood around in a certain amount of time, because it needs to compensate for that lack of oxygen. So your heart basically starts working harder because you don't have as many red blood cells, because there isn't as much erythropoietin in your circulation, which like that can be said for a number of different things, different hormones, different bodily functions. Something doesn't work, if something's like deficient, other things are gonna compensate, right. But that just shifts the balance. It's all about balance in a body. So I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
No, school me.
She was just talking about what was more important, the heart or the...
Well, okay, I guess the overall... Yeah,
and now I want paella.
Basically...
Right, that's what we're getting out of this.
Okay, moral of the story, she wants paella.
Right.
But I guess what I'm saying is, I guess if you were like put a gun to my head, I'd say the heart.
Right.
But, basically everything's important.
Totally.
Everything's important, because if one thing stops working, then everything else is going to fall apart.
Yeah. I mean... The whole idea of donating, because you can donate one of your kidneys.
You can.
That's
but that's a risk, because what if yours doesn't work out?
It's got to be for someone you love. Didn't George Lopez didn't he give a kidney to his wife and then he left his wife?
Well,
no, his wife gave a kidney to him and he left his wife or something like that.
I don't know about that. That'd be fucking crazy. And now that person's with you forever.
Yeah.
Literally.
But just to go off that real quick, I was there's this woman, so I have a friend, he plays D1 lacrosse at Hartford University, had a teammate whose father was having kidney failure, and the families both very close. They found out about this problem, and his name's Will. Will's mom was just and she's such a sweetheart. She's just would do anything for anyone kind of mom, and she was just all right, I'm giving they found out she was a match basically, so they said they didn't have a match through anyone in the family, so she's all right, well, I'll test. I have 2 kidneys, and she was positive for being able to do this transplant. And she was just all right. As soon as they told her yes, she was let's do it.
Wow.
And so she gave him the kidney, and now he's alive because of her.
That's
that's what blows my mind. Is somehow people are so selfless like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the
courage.
whole process. Wow.
But wait, we're getting away from travel and how it possibly influenced your writing.
That's cool, man. We were talking about whatever.
I know,
Man.
But when the traveling was happening, I was actually trying to wrap up the EP, because it got to a point where it was 10 songs. I have and I guess I can talk about it. So I do have a few. No, it's fine. That's totally
no
fine.
pressure. No.
I have maybe 4 or 5 throwaway tracks.
Okay.
So they're all mastered and ready to go, and I'm thinking about.
You got to do an Untitled type of thing where you just got to release them all?
Or even, what is it? If you're reading this, it's too
late.
Or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
I don't know if I want to do a whole thing or just release them one by one. One, I actually have them rapping.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah. I
is that different for you?
It was different, and I went through a phase. So after college, nobody really talks about this, and this might be a segue, but there's post-graduation depression.
Absolutely.
And it's so real. And, anybody now that I talk to who's going through it, I'm, inclined to just being there for them, because it was really hard for me. So
just to add on to that, and not to mute your point, I think any cycle of change that goes on in your life that is very, because graduation is kind of abrupt. You're thinking about it all year, but like that day when the ceremony's over, like it's over.
It's
like,
done.
it's done.
And then
Like,
you're done.
Yeah.
Like everything's done. Like no one cares about you anymore.
But it takes a while for your mind to truly accept that, depending on the person you are. I've always hated school, so like for me it was fine. It sucked that I was sick. I was immediately sick, but afterwards, like I was okay with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like for a lot of people, that is a routine that is so strongly ingrained in them, and it ends. And I think anything with life like that, that's why, you know, we have such an attachment to things, because we've integrated it in our daily schedule so much, and when it stops, we're almost at a loss for identity sometimes.
It's crazy. I mean, 4 years in Philadelphia at Temple with the same people, my close-knit friends who became family, and just my identity was linked in with what I was doing, which was a student, being an RA, being like just Bree, you know, and that, you know, I moved to DC. I got a job working for NYU, so they have a DC campus, so I moved there, and it was really hard to transition, and what really got me through it was hardcore rap. Like nice. I honestly, it was Chief Keef. Really? He got me through it.
Chief Keef ain't no real hitter.
Okay.
Yo, that video is so lit. I watch that still to this day.
Shut the fuck up.
Anybody talking this sweet about Chief Keef, I'm beating their ass.
I am dead. That
guy got famous too. He had a picture of him and Chief Keef.
Seriously, it's like Chief Keef ain't no it. Like, yes, that was it. That and like Kendrick, like again, finally famous, and Good Kid, Mad City saw me, and I'm noticing you run the Jules picture sticky there. Like
all day.
I like
all day.
I just ate all of that up. I like was in I had my Tupac going. I had Biggie. I just like found all these. Wu-Tang. You know, it was.
That's some hardcore stuff.
It was. It was a little like.
Ghostface just like, I cooked crack all day. I saw somebody outside. I smacked him in the head.
Basically, and so like I ate that up really, and because it was just so. It wasn't like I was tired of listening to love stuff. I was tired of listening to soft things. I was feeling very deeply. I was very sad. I was just going through a lot, and I wanted to just not be in that zone. And you know, if you hear love songs, it makes you even sadder. So it's just like,
it does.
Yeah, if you hear like pop soft shit, I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Sometimes every song is a breakup song.
Yeah.
Every single one.
And it's like,
seriously.
you know, I believe in energy to an extent. Like, you know, you're like pulled towards things that you're feeling at the time.
Yeah.
At least that's how it works for me. And like, you know, when you're down, like all you're listening to is that depressing stuff. All you're listening to is that breakup stuff.
See, it was like that, but then after like a while, it's like I can't do this
You're
anymore.
like, oh, this isn't good enough. I'm just gonna write it.
Yeah.
You know,
Really, it was just like, so who is this? I've always heard of Kendrick. I mean, I like that one song he has with Drake and ASAP. That's a cute song. Let's explore more. And then just from there, it went to like, you know. How did I find Chief Keef? Now I'm in Chicago. Like, then I was listening to more Kanye. Oh my God. In that era, like, Yeezus was everything for me. That's the one that nobody likes,
Aggressive.
but I loved Yeezus.
Aggressive.
Okay, it was great. And
you know,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, like people are really harsh on Kanye's albums. I mean, my favorite is 808 and Heartbreak. I love 808.
I didn't like 808.
I love, you see,
much,
you know, kind of like how a lot of people didn't like Yeezus. A lot of people also didn't like 808 and Heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like something about that album really. It's just maybe as a time I was going through in my life.
I love that album. I think the songs on the album are funny though. Like he's calling his girl a RoboCop. I think that's hilarious. Like, to this day when I listen to it.
Is Drunken Hot Girls on that?
No. No. Wait. Yes, it is. Drunken Hot Girls is on that.
Right?
Paranoid's on that.
Mm-hmm.
Heartless is on that. Heartless. That was the jam on the radio way back.
You didn't like Heartless?
I didn't like Heartless that much.
I love Heartless.
Dude,
love it. Just he just he started an era of autotune. I think he started like that singing rap.
No, Stronger's Graduation. I think.
Was it really?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So,
And then he moved on to after 808. It was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which
amazing.
and it's
What?
funny.
It's on my top 10 favorite hip hop albums of all time.
like,
And
it is a masterpiece.
You know what's funny about that
truly.
shit is that he, in an interview, he was just like, you know what, that's actually my least favorite album. I just did that because I knew everyone would love it. I was just like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? What a visionary that like he can hate something that he wrote, but he just knew that everyone would fucking love it. So he made it for
even
that
the
reason.
story behind it.
I
like,
don't know.
The
It
album
sounds-
art,
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, like,
No, we talk about like one of the main things in the show is talking about hip hop, but like, I'm sorry, I feel like he was having fun on that album though. Like when I listen to that, sometimes I'm like, he's really having fun.
Monster.
So, you ever hear that song
Yes.
"See Me Now"?
Yes, with
So that's like
Beyonce.
the hit
And,
song,
that
yeah,
is
right?
my favorite
Yeah.
track.
I was about that
Yo,
song.
that
Live.
song is so much fun.
It's
Like, I
uplifting.
know you
Just
see me,
uplifting.
but
And he's
I'm
like, "What the
yes.
best in the world?"
Yes,
Like I can't hear that and be like,
yes.
he's not having fun.
No,
you know?
that
Like-
was a fun track. Like,
I
he had
forgot
Charlie
about that
Wilson on
song.
it too. Like that, I think that wasn't even like a top, from
No.
the album.
It was like
that's
an
my-
extended
That's my
track.
favorite song
Mhm.
though.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
don't even.
favorite one.
Yeah, when it came out, I didn't think you heard it, but it
Yeah.
was great. Like, so it was fun. I thought, but even like people didn't really fuck with Pablo. That
I
much.
was one of those people. I just kind of like whatever about it.
I just
honestly.
love Waves.
Waves gone by.
Like,
Like,
I asked you for a moment.
no, see, I like
I
the
like Father Stretch My Hand.
Yes,
okay.
oh my gosh, they
Yeah.
play that
Just
sometimes
like
when
the
you go out.
segue
Like,
from part 1 to part 2, I was really into that.
so I like when it's Boom and Cuddy, beautiful morning.
Oh
Yes,
Yellow
yes.
sun. Oh man, it's like more.
Yeah, that one's.
Or like Highlights was fun too.
Yeah.
And you know what amazes me about Highlights is like the Dream. How the Dream is still killing it. Like the Dream will never be broke, honestly. And that honestly, that's the life that I want to live. I've always said that. Like, I don't mind putting out stuff, but eventually, like, I just want to be behind the scenes. I want to write.
Right.
Like, I just want to write for everybody.
Right.
I just like Neo too. Like, God, Neo doesn't need to release anything.
No.
You wrote Irreplaceable, and you continue to write things. Like, you don't need to do it. I just want to write for people and like produce a track here and there. I want to produce like.
So that's the end goal.
Oh yeah, I want to write like a hit song for B, Solange, SZA.
Let's talk about
Let's
it.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
we'll put
Hey,
it into
shoot-
existence.
Shoot for the stars,
Okay,
land on the
we're gonna
clouds, right?
manifest
Let's
this.
talk about it. Yeah.
So yeah,
Let's talk about how you're gonna get there. What's your plan? You
maybe
have
even
one
little
right now.
pumps too.
You
Little
little
Pumps.
pump. Okay, Gucci Man.
Yeah, you have to like write like one of those songs that's like a smash hit
Yeah,
for
of
somebody.
course,
And it's like
of course.
I don't really
So-
believe in like what you doing, but I'm gonna write this
Yeah,
song.
that
for
stuff
you.
is fun. I think people take that stuff too seriously.
I
Like
think so,
all these
too.
littles, like it's for the kids. The kids love it. Like,
You just have you can't tell me Gucci Gang comes on and you don't
Oh, it's
go
hot, it's
Gucci
hot.
Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang.
I
Like
laugh.
it's great.
I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny.
He says.
But then you got these 50-year-old rappers like, man, these kids are ruining the game. I'm like, it's a completely different game.
I mean,
Just say Joe
J.
Budden.
Cole came at
Just say
everyone
Joe
in,
Budden. He doesn't. He's not gonna come for you.
Good Joe does do that. a lot,
Everybody
though.
Dies.
That's
You know
true.
that track? Everybody Dies by J. Cole. He comes at all like the mumble rappers, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Goodness. He, you know what?
I
He
know
got
that.
snubbed this year for
I mean,
the Grammys.
I'm not surprised. I mean,
What happened?
He's
I-
very low key about everything.
I like for
I thought-
his latest. What is For Your Eyes?
Not Forest Hill Drive.
No,
it
For
was,
Your Eyes. Oh,
For Your Eyes
right?
Only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that
But
album.
I loved it too.
That
But
was
it
great.
wasn't made for radio. It wasn't made to be a hit.
No.
None of them were like radio hits.
Which is
Which
interesting
is
because
what-
I did
what he
not like
wanted.
Forest Hills Drive at all. I thought it was boring as hell.
Love Forest Hill Drive. What is it? Saint Tropez, I think it's called. That I love that song.
See, that I will never shade J. Cole's artistry, and he's also somebody I aspire to as well. Because he produced that entire album from start to finish,
Dope.
and he had no features. So like,
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Dope. Yeah.
like yes,
Double
I feel
platinum,
it.
no features, though.
Yeah. So I just think it's incredible what all these artists are able to do now, and I also think too like we're in an age where we really can just be whatever we want to be.
Right.
So I look at the J. Cole's like who, I'm just going to produce this whole thing by myself. Or you look at Kanye who's like, I'm just going to take this into my own hands and I'm so talented that I can make a crowd-pleasing album and I can make an album that pisses you off and still get paid.
Right.
And then
marry
there's
Kim Kardashian. on
and marry
top
Kim
of it all.
Kardashian, have 2 adorable kids. Okay. And like then there's like Chance, who
Oh, yeah,
I can
that's
make
what
an entire career off of SoundCloud.
Mhm.
He's still not signed. Like and he doesn't need to
He changed the game. He changed the game
totally
that way.
changed the
Yeah.
game,
People
So
told me you're gonna do it like that, and Kanye is like, nope, I'm gonna let this happen.
yeah.
That's the thing. That's what I appreciate is not to say that if you don't have a Jay-Z or Kanye endorsing you, that's not to say you're not talented, but when you do, that's just to say, whoa, they really believe that you're the next big thing. They really believe they
Yeah.
see your potential,
Right.
and they're so late into the game and they have so much experience where I truly believe they see things I don't. You know what I mean?
And they'll do that to a lot of smaller
You get what I'm
artists,
saying though?
too.
It's just
Yeah,
like they have such an
absolutely.
eye for talent in
Well,
their
there's,
respective field.
Yeah.
And they do it for there's this 16-year-old producer. She worked on some of I think either J or B's albums, and
that wouldn't have happened if Jay was like, wasn't like, hey, like, I see this and, we're going to bring this vision to life. So I think it's really cool that we have like these, the kings and queens who, like, Beyonce does it all the time, where she brings in a lot of writers and producers, dancers that, you don't know, like, them by first name or anything, but you will because of them.
Right.
And it's not, for her to say, oh, I put you on.
Drake does it all the time.
Yeah.
Drake just every album, he's always bringing a feature of someone that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And now, like The Weeknd, I think, is one of them. Like, Take Care, The Weeknd was on.
Yeah.
And
Drake does, I think, like, OVO in general, they're good at doing a lot of in-house,
I think, so I had this conversation with people, I attribute Drake to a Jay-Z type, where he's all about the business. He's not about so much... So Drake is all about making a label. He's about making an icon, becoming an icon. Whereas, like, you have your J. Cole's and your Kendricks, they're more about social movements and, like, getting a point across and telling how they feel. Mm-hmm. Drake wants to start an empire. Drake wants to make a lot of money. Drake wants to be remembered. Drake wants to influence who comes up and, kind of be that big brother, more or less, to, like, find talent and make them stars. Yeah. And I think he's very good at that.
I agree.
I do too.
He definitely is like someone who is trying to build an empire. And that whole situation where he was beefing with what's his face?
Meek Mill?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he killed him though. I mean, I love Meek Mill.
It's old news, but like, I feel you, but like, that to me, like, really shown like his character. I was just shaking my head, like.
Well, he was trying to let it go. That's what it seemed like, at least. He was trying to let it go, and then Meek Mill just kept going and going, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna end your life. That's I mean, back to back. Didn't Charlemagne the Guy, wasn't he just like, that was the best diss track since
Ether? You talk about Nas and
yeah. I thought he also brought up Ice
Cube.
Cube.
You brought that up.
Like, no Vaseline.
I was just about to say.
Oh no.
No, I was gonna say Sheether. In my opinion,
Who's
Sheether.
that? Who's that?
See, y'all gotta get hip to the ladies, okay?
Apparently, I'm deficient in that.
So,
wait, is that the name of a diss track? In the same vein? Okay.
Is that like is that Remy Ma?
It is Remy Ma.
I feel like against Nicki Minaj.
Against Nicki.
I kind of knew what you're talking about, but not really.
When I tell you, obliterated Nicki, and I feel like ever since Sheether, Nicki's come correct. Since then, as far as just lyrically.
Are there? So I mean, real quick before you get into deep thought about it.
That's pretty.
Are there things that you can diss a female rapper for that isn't gonna work on a male rapper? Like, what are the rules for that sort of thing? You know what I'm trying to say?
I mean,
like, what's got to get to a female rapper that's not gonna get to a male rapper?
I feel like the primary objective of like female rapping is to show that there really is no difference. I mean, that's always I've always seen it. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like to just show that there really isn't a difference between. Okay. How do you see it?
I kind of see it that way too, and I don't know if there's I don't know about the rules. I'm all love and light.
Of course,
I'm sad about this dude over here.
Right,
but,
I feel that.
I think I think for myself, I will say this. I wish that more female rappers and just artists in general would collaborate like how you see a lot of men collaborating. So they'll be like on a track like Quavo, there'll be Migos and like Big Sean. I think Metro Boomin just came out with an album.
Well, I know. Didn't Cardi B and Nicki Minaj just come out with something together?
So they're both on Motorsport.
Yeah, okay. Great song, by the way.
I love it. But
you like Cardi B real quick?
I do like Cardi B.
I think she's hilarious.
I think she's another person who like who got started basically on the internet. From her funny Instagram post.
She said in an interview, like an early one, she was like, "I don't know what to do now." She's like, "I'm playing for this." She's like, "I'm not like a musician." She's like, "I used to be a stripper. Like, we're just gonna do this." I respected that so much.
Yeah,
like, it was dope.
She's real, and I love it. And
she's not trying to impress anyone either.
No, she's not.
Just like,
she's just herself.
See, I'm gonna ride this out for all it's worth.
And I think it's good. I want to see like her and Nicki do more collaborations because they don't hate each other. I don't think so. I mean,
they made a song together. How much can they really hate each other? Yeah, I don't think Remy Ma and Nicki would make a song together,
No, not now at least, but definitely not now. But I want like more of us to do like big like compilation albums together, like for no reason. Like how again these producers
kind of like I'm thinking DJ Khaled with the
yes.
on the one that just had everyone.
We'll have like 20 different dudes on a song, and like it all works, and maybe like one or two women here and there, but like
DJ Khaled just brings people together that wouldn't normally work together.
Yeah, you would never think.
Like Big Sean and Kendrick, I don't see them really working together ever. And then then they had that song, The Key, I think, something like that. It was on major key. It was called Holy Key.
Okay.
Holy Key.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Khaled is like this mythical creature, man. He's like this.
Is that what he is?
He's like this folklore kind of creature, dude. Like he's like Santa Claus. When he comes around, like,
You don't know he actually exists.
no, like Christmas miracles happen when this
Okay.
guy comes around. Like he's just, he's not perfect, but like
You look like brown Santa Claus.
You just call him.
he makes stuff happen though. Like he makes stuff happen that people they turn their head like what, and it just becomes a new thing. Like his Snapchat, like just stuff, just anything he touches, really. But yeah, that's one of the best. I agree with you. A female compilation like just hip hop albums like mad female rappers. That'd be insane. I'd love to listen to that just to like hear what it would be. You know?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, so
What would the album be called?
Control.
Control. Okay.
It came to you so fast though. You were like,
Apparently, she's thought
almost
about
like
this.
you were working on
She's
it.
thought about this.
How are you playing?
But yeah,
She
back,
expects to be on that album.
back to you rapping. When I listened to your lyrical style, I heard it in my head. I was like, is she gonna like break out and do like some bars and stuff? But not on this album. But you know what I'm saying? I can definitely hear it over your like the way you compose your beats. I was like, that's the next step. Like, you know, and you've probably been on hooks for like people's songs and stuff, right? Because I can see you doing that.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of other.
Really?
artists,
Can you?
too.
What songs are they? I mean, so people can find it.
This is just they're not on.
They're not up yet.
This is like
Okay.
way back
In the
when I-
making.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is all very new to me right now.
Okay.
So
Right.
as far as I guess putting things like on paper, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like,
What can I real quick? How we talked about the making of the music. Like, can you talk about the process of getting it on iTunes and getting it on Spotify? Because
Oh my
that
goodness.
sounds like a nightmare to me.
it kind of was a headache.
Okay.
So I have a distributor that I work with.
Okay.
And so you have to just basically apply. You have to submit your work to this distributor, and it's called CD Baby. And so you can't just like upload anything. Even for my album artwork, a couple of times they wrote me back rejecting it, saying like, oh, it's not like the perfect amount of resolution. Like it has to be crystal clear, and all of your tracks have to be clean too, because they listen to them. So there's that step. So the distributor has to look at it and say, okay, this looks good, this sounds good, and then they take it to to the streaming sites. And all of them will approve your sounds at different points.
Okay.
So it was on Spotify, and this process, because there's so many artists, it takes a while.
Okay.
I submitted it. I actually intended for the album to come out on my birthday, which is September 10th.
Okay.
So it was pushed back to actually October, because that's how long it took to get everything approved.
So almost an entire month.
And then on YouTube it says your stuff was on November, right? That's what you
Yeah,
put on. Okay.
yeah. So it all goes up at different times, and I can't really control it. Even with like claiming my artist page on iTunes took a long time. It took maybe like 30 minutes for Spotify to verify that it was me, but for iTunes I think I just got it, honestly. And it's January.
That's
so.
crazy. I mean, just we think about streaming sites all the time and how easy it is to access stuff, but I don't know. I don't usually sit down and be like, wow, how did this get up here?
Yeah.
What was the process of making sure that this gets verified? And because if not just if it were like SoundCloud, then just any bullshit could be up there.
Well, you know what's the longer process really is. It's not even that. It's mixing this. It's making all of it and then mixing it and mastering it.
Okay.
The mixing takes a long, long time. And that's why I even had to stop, making so many songs, because it's like I can make it in
you're
a
looking
couple
for
days.
a quality over quantity type of thing.
Yeah, so it does take. So now actually, after going through this whole process by myself without a team, I don't. It's just me.
You are the team.
I am the team. I'm the writer. I'm the producer. I do everything but mix and master, which is what Blaine did. But all of that now I understand when I hear about artists burning out, or when they don't put out something for a while. It's like it's a process, and if you don't have a label paying you and backing you and doing everything for you and setting you up with the producers and everything, then it is a lot of work. So, and it's a lot of money too. It's something.
Well, how
that would
much did it
also-
cost you to put everything up?
So everything, I don't know the number off the top of my head,
Okay.
but I do know that the mixing sessions were charged by the hour.
Okay, and hourly, how much does that usually cost?
Like 70.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah, but you're calculating your time before you go in there.
Yes.
In a way,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? You're not just putzing around. You have objectives.
Oh yeah,
and that's
oh,
what
yeah.
makes
and,
it easier to
you know,
handle.
Blaine also doesn't waste time either. So
Yeah,
you know,
they're professionals.
Yeah,
I know how
so-
that is. So
yeah, and it's hard being an indie artist. And I personally, you know, have read on music blogs, like, honestly, you can do whatever you want, but like, and my studio is it's a really good studio. There are smaller studios out there that are just as good that don't charge you as much. But I think for the best, most professional sound, you know, just go to where you can afford, but that's also really good for your sound.
yeah.
Because there's a difference. There is a huge difference between like something that came straight off a Mac, and something that, you know, went through a whole process.
Right.
I mean, I don't know a lot about the production end of it, but I mean, I see pictures. Excuse me. I see pictures of like, you know, Drake or like Jay-Z like posting this stuff like in the studio, and like there's like 1,000 buttons.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck do you use all these buttons for? Like,
Well,
what?
yeah,
What is going on?
For those guys, their studio looks like a NASA control room.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say, and that's like the sexy part of it. Honestly, like anything that you see online, and
It's crazy.
it's not even them, you know, unless Jay and Jersey know how to mix, and I didn't know that, but there are all these people who are like my audio engineer Blaine, who like, it's tedious. It's
Yeah.
so tedious. You have to go through each like verse, and God forbid you're like me and you grew up listening to harmonies. So now all your music has harmonies and a bunch of background vocals. You have to go through each and every one and make sure everything's in tune, make sure everything sounds clean, make sure, you know, if there's like popping sounds in the mic, you can try to remove that, or if you can't, you have to unfortunately go back and re-record and send it back. Like it's a whole process. So
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've never really been a part of it on that kind of level, but you have no choice but to respect the stuff that goes into it. And the crazy thing is, like, it's 3 minutes. It's a 3-minute
Yeah.
song.
and
3 minute song.
it's 3
Took
minutes so
days.
somebody can say this is shit and then like walk
Right.
away.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
oh,
you know
okay.
what? Like, what are they doing? What are they
Right.
doing right now?
Right.
Yeah.
They're
But-
sitting at home writing a bad YouTube comment on their computer,
Yeah.
right? Like giving you 1 out of 5 stars because they were having a bad day.
Yeah,
you know?
like if something is genuinely bad, you know, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you did not try with this. But if it's somebody's like artistic dream and
So,
vision,
that's the thing. So you are putting the time in. You are doing what a lot of people don't even think about doing. You found the logistics of, you know, studio time, what that costs hourly, how am I going to get on Spotify, how am I going to get on Apple Music, you know, what do I have to do in order to make my dream a reality? And, you know, I think it is a reality at a point right now because you have music out there. Whereas I see, you know, we talk about these SoundCloud rappers, but like I see people from high school, I see just people in general just promoting their stuff in the wrong ways and like, you know, and I listen to a beat and I'm like, all right, this sounds all right. You know, like maybe you spent like a few hours on it, but it doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like there's
don't
different
think
levels of
people-
hard work.
yeah, I don't think people realize they romanticize the
They're about
journey.
they're about the lifestyle they think that music is,
Yeah.
as opposed to actually making the music itself.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
execution as
That's
well.
what it feels like sometimes.
I feel like that's with a lot of things, though. With acting, with being a professional athlete, you know, you don't see the guy who slam dunks in someone's face, how he's crying in the locker room. You know, you don't see how somebody who's a musician, they don't have a house, so they sleep on their friend's couch. Like, it's all the stuff that you don't see. And I mean, it's always been like that. Like the actor that goes to LA, but like he's just a, you know, he's a waiter all day, and it's all about what you don't see. And I think what it boils down to is, the reason that you do it, the reason that you spend the money and stuff is because you truly love it. Otherwise, why? You know what I'm saying? So I think first, like, to get into that kind of lifestyle, it's just like, forget about the lifestyle. Do you love to make music? If the answer is yes, then do it. But if the answer is you're after a lifestyle, then no. You know?
'Cause you're gonna be chasing that lifestyle your entire life, and you're never gonna reach it at that point.
Yeah.
Well, your ultimate lifestyle should be, I'm making music. You know what I'm saying? Like this right here. Like, I love doing this kind of stuff. I work television. I love making television. So that's like my ideal life, is doing something I love, you know? All that riches and stuff, man, like, that's great. I wouldn't say no to it. Don't get me wrong. If it was in front of my face, I would take it. But I feel like the philosophy behind being a creative individual, being someone who writes music, is like, get yourself into a zone, into a frequency where you're doing what you love to do, and that's the rich and famous
Well,
life, you know?
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
kind of go off of just like doing what you love and like, you know, the money aspect of it. I also have a medical scribe job where I work in the oncology department.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like we go back into like the office, and we go over there's an assessment and plan at the end of every visit. So we kind of lay out what we're going to do in terms of treatment and what we're going to do about it. And we're sitting there, and I have a pretty good relationship with the doctor I work with at this point. And I think I don't know, somehow money got brought up, and I was just I was like, God damn, I'd take that right now, take that salary or whatever, something like that. And he would just look at me and goes, well, Ryan, money creates its own problems. Cause I was kind of I forget exactly what we were talking about, but basically the gist of what I was saying was it'd be nice to have a little more money right now. And he would just I make $400,000 a year, whatever an oncologist makes, and he's I still have problems. You know what I mean? So I guess it's just something to think about. Well, you're always on this pursuit. When you pursue money, I just feel like you're never really happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tale that's been told over and over again. And there's just some problems that you can't throw money at to fix. Those are personal problems. And there's an old African proverb which is the best. I'm not into putting quotes up anywhere, but if I was, I'd put this quote up, and it's, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
It's a Lao Tzu quote.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard it was African proverb. When I Google it, it says African proverb.
Pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's a Lao Tzu quote. It's if there's
different parts of the world, man.
If there's well, I think it's maybe there's just similar quotes. It's just if there's no enemy within, no enemy without can hurt you, kind of
Yeah, it's a common theme, but the thing is, you gotta have no problems with yourself, and it's the same thing with love. I mean, not that you're the love expert, but your album's about it. It's you can't really love someone unless
she talks
you love
about
yourself.
Yeah, I mean, she talked about her experiences, which is the best kind of story.
Yeah.
Can you hear me chewing?
Dude, I think about that too when I'm on the mic, but when I listen to the podcast, I can't. Especially when you're back here like this. It's less.
I mean, it's all organic. We're trying to get an idea of who you are, and if that means chewing a few chips.
I feel like that's,
Is that who you are?
That's real.
Okay,
that's
I mean,
right
if that's
now.
real, then
and these are
let's go with it.
Oh, well, I chew slowly when it's a podcast. I chew and I always
methodically.
I do it while someone else is talking,
Yep.
so your voice overpowers it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just what it is, being a creative person, and a lot of people don't understand it. But those people that mix and master, you're grateful for them because they're so logistical. They're just frequency dB has to be up, and it can't overpower this. And you're just whatever, dude. Oh, if you hear a bump, I'm gonna edit it out. But it's whatever, dude. You're it's all in your hands. I'm leaving it up to you, and that feeling is so great. I did my piece. All right, that's last take. I'm gonna sit over here. I'm gonna drink water. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna watch you do this.
Right. You fix. I don't even watch when it comes to TV stuff or recording stuff, I'm just all right, my part is done. I'm removing myself from the situation right now.
The first few sessions when I was there, I was so a kid in a candy store, oh my god, I'm gonna learn so much from this guy.
Really?
And I sat there and I was what's this? What's that? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? What's this? What's that? Hold still. Let me take a picture.
For real.
And Blaine was lady.
Let me do my thing.
He's been at it for years. I mean, he's trying to tell you,
That can't be the first time he's dealt with that either.
Oh no, he's been mixing for well over 10 years, so he knows what he's doing, and he's young too. So, we just vibe really well. But I will say, after a couple of sessions, I got it, and it was just something I did think I wanted to do. And this is good, you see, you experience, and I was just man, this is tedious. This is hours upon hours just for one track, It was a lot, so, but it is good to see that. So now, or when towards the last few songs, I would just make sure I had my laptop, my snacks, and I would ask questions here and there. Mostly, it was me just listening to what he was doing to my voice. Right. There are some recordings that when I recorded it, it sounded different, and then when he got his hands on it, it changed. But it was all for the better. It's good to have a second opinion, and it's not just me in my own head. It's hey Brie, this is off pitch. Why don't we redo it and make sure it's on pitch? So
yeah, it's good to have that kind of second voice and second opinion as much as you want to do on your own. But I think about that nowadays. It's crazy about how we live in a time where you can do everything on your own because of the internet and because of technology. It was never like that any other time. You're an independent music artist for the most part. You rely on somebody that mixes and stuff.
Yeah.
But that is it's still relatively new. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what gets me so excited. I wake up excited, seriously, every day. I know this sounds corny, because like for the first time in history, you could fund whatever you want and start whatever you want, like on your computer, which is lit.
Absolutely.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah, people just have to, you find enough people to get behind you, and that's the hardest. The hardest part is to get the first few hundred.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like I've heard that story time and time again, and it just works itself out.
Right.
You get some exposure, and then that builds upon itself. Rob 10K Friends was talking about that.
Yeah. That guy's a powerhouse.
You know Rob 10K Friends, right?
No.
So you talked to him for 2 hours.
No, well, he was the first episode on the show. He's a guy who went to Penn State, and I think he got like some kind of like business administration degree. Went to go work in this business that was a gamble. It was run by like a bunch of millennials. Fell through, found himself unemployed, and then he decides that for every day of his life, for like the next 8 or 10 years, he's going to meet with 3 people, introduce himself, ask them who they are, talk about them, get to know them, and document it like in an Instagram photo. So it's him and the person he meets, their name, and like pretty much their life story, their Instagram handle, and he does 3 of those a day. And his name is Rob 10K Friends because he wants to meet 10,000 people. That's his goal. So like he has like a few years, actually more than a few years projected until he reaches his goal. He's like at like 1,600 right now, something like that. But he gained so much traction like really quickly, and he appeared on like the news and stuff like that. And that's such an idea that's like out of nowhere. Like people, it's not a concrete thing where it's like he's some kind of professional entertainer. He's just a guy that like, I want to meet 3 people a day that I've never seen before in my entire life, and it's gained so much traction, and that's all because of like the internet. It's that's it. It's just people looking at it and going, "That's interesting. I want to see what that journey's like."
I think it's awesome. I think it's great that like Rob can do something like that. You guys have this, and I can make like a whole EP. And think about it, like even 10 years ago, like could you even imagine that? Could you even try?
I don't even know where I was at 10 years ago. What was I doing? What was I, like 15?
High school, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but high schoolers now can do what
Oh,
we're setting out to do.
definitely.
I think I always think about that. Like I was like, as soon as Mac came out and gave us that first wave of GarageBand, I was like, ooh, this is changing the game for us here. And I look at GarageBand now every now and then. I go back to it, and I'm like, oh my god, this was a little clunky, but it was a start. It kind of opened the door, and it allowed you to just be creative and to just dream a little bit bigger, or to have more tangible dreams than just the well, I kind of like this now, and maybe I'll meet an A&R. There's no A&R anymore. You don't need A&R anymore. If you put something out and
what is A&R for people who are not familiar?
It is it's the people who are a part of labels who go out and they find the artists.
Okay.
So they bring the
talent.
Artists, they bring the talent to the labels.
Yeah.
They're like a scout, pretty much.
Basically. So
has that job just completely disappeared?
That's not completely. I'm sure there's still some out there, but it's not. I don't need one. You know what I mean? Like I can, if I just promote myself and do whatever I want and like maybe gain all this traction on Instagram for whatever viral thing I do, then Sony's gonna be calling me, right? So
that's the difference between now and like the 80s, is that the internet decides, like the people decide what's hot, like whatever the internet's listening to, that's the new thing. Like there's no guy like sitting in the back of the bar like, I'm gonna sign these kids. Like that just doesn't happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how many times has your song been Shazammed? 50,000? All right, I'll pay attention to you. Like it's all internet now, which is so mind blowing. But
but it's good. It kind of like lifts the veil, and it makes everything more real for everyone. And I think that's great. I think that's great for the creative. I think it changes how we even view life after high school. Because if there are a lot of creative people who are in high schools right now who who maybe used to feel discouraged from just straight up pursuing their dream because it was so hard. There were so many barriers in front of them, and now it's like, well, it's tangible. So do I have to do one route? Do I have to do the straight and narrow, or can I just go off on my own and make something happen? And I think that's great. I encourage people to do that. I don't think there's one path for everyone, and now we're in a world where it doesn't have to be. You can make your own lane,
I think that defines you. One more question I want to ask you, and this goes back to your album. To pretty sum up Validations, You have an album cover with you. You have an afro. It looks awesome. And you smiling, and it's like looking up at the sky. I know you said that the tone of Validations is kind of like a sad, maybe more somber for you. Why that picture? Is there any significance? Did you just want to look nice, or why? Like, what was going on in that?
What's with the background? There's like a statue almost.
So yeah, and it is. I think it's a religious statue. We were
Okay.
in DC and we did a shoot in the Navy Yards, and it was my good friend Jalen was able to call one of his friends, Izzy, who does photography, visual media, and he was really good at just like seeing this vision in that day, like in that shoot with what I was wearing and what I was doing, and I like doing the prayer hands just in general, but I think it was just such a spiritual thing for me to do, because again, it's been a part of my ministry. You know, it's been a part of my spirit for so long, just to, you know, write and create and, you know, express myself, and it's finally all coming together. So it kind of symbolizes that a little bit, but for the most part, it's just, you know, something that I like to do, and I thought it was just a beautiful scene, and I thought it went well with kind of the music that it was in front of. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
That's cool. Yeah, I was just wondering that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's the time we have for today. We're just gonna wrap this up. Again, I just want to thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank
For real.
you.
Yeah, thank you. This is a lot of fun.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having me. This is awesome.
And please just feel free right now to plug in whatever way you want. It doesn't have to be catchy. Just name like everything, your website, your all of that stuff, so people will know. I know you've already did it. Ryan allowed you earlier on, but like totally.
Hey, you know, more times the better.
I like to
Yeah.
close out with that. That's like my thing.
Oh,
so
great. So,
go for it.
yeah, I'm Brianna Sydney, and you can find my music on Spotify, iTunes, Tidal. Somebody told me I was on Tidal. and I was
You don't
like,
even know.
I
You didn't
didn't.
even know
I had
that.
no
Wow.
idea.
Maybe Jay-Z's looking at you.
Oh my gosh! I was like, wait, B and J know me.
That's awesome.
So I have a website for that. It's briannasydney.com. And if you are also interested in, you know, having soft hands and
And who
smooth
isn't?
skin and, you know, staying moisturized during this dry tundra of a season that we're experiencing, please go to cleanglowsheabutter.com and order a nice, affordable jar of shea butter.
I'm impressed by you, Brianna.
That impressed is an understatement. I mean, she's doing it.
You really are.
Thank you all.
Living the dream. From butter to albums. Thank you so much for coming on. Ryan, thank you, man.
No, it's a good time.
Oh, yeah, always, man.
Thank
This
you
is,
both.
yeah, episode 22. See ya.
I can't wait till 6 months from now when all you'll read is a distant, unaffected part of my memory. And when I hear your name and see a picture of your face, it won't mean that much to me. 'Cause right now on this first day of spring, where they claim love runs free, it feels like night at 10 a.m. 'Cause last Thursday at 3 p.m. I was not expecting